Why, hello. Welcome to the Myquitas Epoch Happy Hour. I am your host today, as well as your mixologist, CV Peterson, and we will be making a concoction inspired by science. That's right, we are going to be making a mocktail cocktail, truly a mocktail, inspired by Dr. Sherry Mason's publication entitled The Anthropogenic Contamination of Tap Water, Beer, and Sea Salt. Or as what we're going to be calling it today, environmental whoopsie. Yes. So, for this cocktail, mocktail, mix it up, we will be creating a saltwater elixir that is saturated and played around with some plastic, right? We're gonna make our own. But before this, like any good happy hour, do all of you have your libations, your beverages? I'm gonna get mine, one moment. So you can't have a happy hour without a beverage. So as I'm pouring this up, I'm hoping you're all getting yours. Yes. Boop, 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 boop. Fantastic. Perfect. So the fun thing is, not only is it happy hour and we're enjoying beverages, but in Dr. Sherry Mason's publication, she stated that actually, fun fact, beer has 4.05 particles of plastic per liter. So not only is this fun celebratory beverage, but I'm getting my daily dose of plastic. Actually, the beer is really good. I don't know if I'm all that fond of the plastic, but neither here nor there, right? Tasty, tasty. And I mean, we're creating a plastic-based ecosystem anyways, right, guys? I mean, like with like the 2 dump trucks roughly a day of plastic we're putting into the ocean. It might even be more than that. Like, how can we not just love to indict ourselves and our community with it, right? Our ecosystems, plastic. Fun fact as well, though, is salt, particularly in salt water, now contains 212 particles of plastic per kilogram. Season that steak, mix up that salad, throw in a little resin polymer with your sea salt. Tasty. Turns out on average, this is the fun part, on average, the average person ingests 5,800 particles of plastic a year. Real tasty. Real tasty. And that's what we're working on today, folks. We're gonna make our own little plastic ecosystems. Yes, we are. So I'm actually gonna get up and flip the camera around so you can see how this is done. So one moment, be patient with me. It takes a little bit of time. I'm here. I gotta find the camera. Okay, one moment, please. One moment, we're still here. Actually, that was completely false. One moment again, learning my own technology. COVID, am I right? It's actually this. There we go. That's what I'm wanting. That is what I'm wanting. Okay, ready? Voila. So right here we have some hot water that we are mixing with some salt, right? So there's my sea salts, right? Let's pour in a good dose. So the fun thing about this, right, is in this piece. The reason we're making it so saturated with salt is because salt crystals are actually starting to form on plastic, and so in this cocktail that we're creating, we're actually wanting to heighten that, right? This is more like an aged cocktail. You gotta let it like sit for roughly a month or so. But yeah, the crystals will form up on the plastic, and we'll be seeing that shortly. But the reason why this is happening in nature is it also breaks down the plastic. I'm not saying decomposes, it breaks it down. Breaks it down into itty bitty little pieces called nurdles, right? And nurdles, super fun. They're so small that we can't even siphon them out of the sea salt anymore. And we can't siphon them out of our tap water. So we are getting quite a bit of plastic for our consumption. Okay, we're going to go back to the main frame. One moment, please. Please bear with me. We're going to, whoop, there we go. Moving back. Moving back. I'm still here, folks. Okay, one moment. Hit the camera. Boom. You guys still good? Still seeing that? Okay, grab the plastic. Perfect. So you saw the sea salt elixir, right? It's brewing, boil, boil, bubble and trouble, right? And so I thought I would start us off with a cocktail classic, right? The fishbowl, right? We all have memories of the fishbowl. Or maybe not. Maybe it's more like your friends have memories of you with the fishbowl. Anyways, spring break classic, summer classic right here. So we're gonna start out with adding some condiments, right? Before we add the elixir of plastic salt. So first, Mardi Gras beads, right? These are fun, these are festive, make you forget about all sorts of things going on in the world, right? Ooh. Next, let's do some loofahs, right? Rub-a-dub-dub. Hopefully 3 men in a tub, right? Right, am I right? So loofahs, right? Lovely plastic, keeps us clean, keeps us fresh, inspired by a real thing, a real organic thing, right? We're just gonna, I feel cleaner already. Throw that in, right? What else do we have? Ooh. Fun things, right? These are those little plastic frogs, right, that we have as kids. Hope you can see this. Boink. Oopsies. Well, that one ran away. Kind of like the one that I did when I was a child. It ended up in the garden. We found it 30 years later. Anyways, those in. Ooh, dinosaurs. Dinosaurs, plastic dinosaurs. I mean, nieces, nephews, children, ourselves, intoxicated adults, right? We love these things. Rah, 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 rah. Fun fact though, the dinosaurs actually on the timeline of the planet's existence lived exponentially longer than we've lived so far. Yeah. And all they've left behind are bones. We're leaving behind a plastic crust, right? Turns out we're actually changing rock formations. They're incorporating plastic. Yeah, read about it. Some scientists have found the newest ones in Hawaii. Ooh, yeah, toy soldiers, right? Push, pew, 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 you know, because we love killing each other. Yeah, that's all the fun. Oops, I nearly ended up in my beer. Oh my. Okay, ooh, some zip ties, all functioning. Okay, we're gonna set this one aside. Ooh, mason jar. So where I'm living now in rural Wisconsin, right? Lumberjack hipsters everywhere, mason jars. Hip, cool thing to do. So in this, we're gonna add in some yarn. Right, some plastic yarn that's been crocheted together. Now the fun thing about plastic yarn is it's made from plastic bags, right? These materials that are supposed to be permanent, yet we treat as ephemeral. Yeah, and speaking of that, ooh, here are some, oh, it's a boy, it's a girl, cupcake skewers, cake skewers, right? What are we having the future of our children right there? Ooh, golf balls, recreation, right? Social distancing, it's outside, it's safe to do. We can totally, I'm gonna add those into the fishbowl, a few in there. Perfect. Perfect. What else do I have? Ooh, plastic utensils. Once again, permanent items used as ephemera. So good. So good. We got another. We got another. Ooh, hair clips. Hair clips, right? You know, they if I had hair, right? Perfect. Perfect. Some more Mardi Gras beads. Ooh, some toys. Like Monopoly, curious, is that one like bingo balls, like little plastic bingo balls. Woo, I win, right? But really, I'm sorry, right? Game of sorry. Yeah, we'll add a few of those in. Some more of this. I love my loofahs. I love my loofahs. Right? Ugh, fantastic, fantastic. All the loofahs that can go in the fishbowl. I like the fishbowl. More plarn, right? Plastic yarn. Isn't that creative, folks? So good, so good. Oh, actually, that's not one of my beverages. Perfect. Now all that's left, actually, daily dose of plastic right here. So good. So good. Okay. And now we have the salt water. We're just gonna pour this right in, right? Oops, a little bit on my table. Yum, yum. And actually, I'm gonna turn that off. And because the fish bowl is so big, I pre-made some. Once again, plastic container. I'm totally down for this plastic-based ecosystem. So good. Actually, we'll just unscrew it. We'll just unscrew it right here. Perfect. Saltwater elixir. So freaking tasty. Good. And now, for this particular cocktail, we let it sit, right? Up to a month actually is best. It lets the salt crystals really grow on it, right? So I'm gonna quickly move this baby over here as I bring forth some pre-made ones, right? Some examples. Okay. The fun thing is adding hot water into the plastic that's colored, right? It really colors the water there. And then here we have this one, right? And so after about, the camera and showing too many things. Okay, we're gonna focus on these three, yeah. So these ones have been aging, right? And so you can kind of see the salt crystals up here, right? As the water evaporates, it leaves the crystals, it grows on the salt product, right? Grows on it, look at those salt crystals. Oops. You can kind of see it here too on some of that plarn, right? On the outside, like right here. Yeah, beautiful salt crystals, Because it turns out, it turns out, right, that the salt crystals break down the plastic a little bit, but doesn't actually decompose it, right? No, it just breaks it down into the nurdles that I described before. And nurdles actually will be evaporated along with water particles into the air. So even those of you who are like, oh, CV, we don't use much plastic and we're really good at recycling. Don't worry. Plastic's now in the sky, it gets rained, and you know, rain clouds don't care about country borders, so you got it too. No worries, it's all good. You get to enjoy it as well. Enjoy these plastic ecosystems, right? Perfect, perfect. So that's the end of my plastic-based ecosystem. We have another one coming up next week, right, with some vodka-infused things. Not tasty, not tasty. Tasty. Save them on plastic, probably. But yeah, next week we're coming up with plastic infused vodka because, you know, we just need to heighten those cocktails right up. But now I'm off to my local bar, right? Social distancing, it's open now. And besides, you can always add this to a new cocktail. Okay, so I'll see you later. Bye-bye, have fun. It's all good, it's all good. Bye-bye, bye-bye now. Okay, I lied. Now it's... artist talk time. Right, it is totally terrifying how much we consume. I'll be trying to answer your questions on Twitch, but there's a good 30-second lag. Thank you, by the way, for watching my performance. I'm still drinking this beer though, even though it has roughly 4 particles of plastic a liter. It's not a liter, I only have 8 ounces. It's good, right? So I just got a question asking me how I became fascinated with the environment. And so my entire series of work, the work I'm currently focusing on isn't actually medium-based, it's theme-based. And the work I do is using art and science to explore human-caused environmental devastation. So this piece actually falls into like chemistry in art, right? Because I'm playing with plastic particles, but I'm also playing with like salt crystals and like how to grow those and things like that. I mean, it's an easy experiment that probably most of you or your kids have done like in the 2nd grade, but it's kind of cool, it's kind of fun. And then to have those salt crystals build up on plastic is really what inspired this piece. It was from a previous piece called Distillery. But I got interested actually in how the planet and organisms are adapting to our anthropogenic contamination, our human-caused, really caused plastic-based ecosystems that we're creating across the world. This research by Dr. Sherry Mason that this piece is based on, she had sample tests in Chile and South Africa, in Cuba, multiple places in the US, multiple places in Europe, over in Singapore. So it was really a global test, not just an American, US-based one. And the results were kind of conclusive across the board, which was quite frightening. And so in my work, my goal is to bring forth those frightening statistics and those frightening things and have that over. But yeah, I got really interested in fungus that eats plastic, and that's actually where this kind of began, and then it's dwindled. It's gone out into me making the cocktails that my plastic-eating fungus creatures will consume. Okay, one moment, I'm reading, correct. Yeah, so I've just been really focused on research of plastic. and human-caused human-caused environmental devastation across the board, and how we're very human-centric in our views of ecosystems, and we're kind of oblivious, or we forget about the other ecosystems that can exist without us. I think a good example would be what has happened in COVID, right? Areas that were so destroyed by humans and suddenly didn't have the human interaction anymore started really flourishing again. Things along those lines. Some of my earlier pieces are a question here that I'm answering. Some of my earlier pieces are mushroom sculptures, and they're actually a bio-alternative for styrofoam. And so I work with a company that creates this, or uses this fungal product to be this alternative for styrofoam. And currently there are two major dealers, are Dell Computer and IKEA. And they've donated material and really supported me with these sculptures. And I'm still doing it. It's light like styrofoam and it's easy to grow. I have a greenhouse black house. I call it a black house because it's dark, so the fungus can really live. But my focus on that is like how not only are people discovering, because these are human engineers, right, discovering a plastic alternative, right, to styrofoam, or a bio alternative to styrofoam, they're using fungus, and fungus is the oldest water fossil and the oldest land fossil on the planet. And then it's also, fungus is already showing the ability to consume plastics, right? So I'm actually beginning collaboration with some mycologists and fungus scientists about taking that further. But I'm really interested in like how we are trying to step up, but it's not enough. It's to the extent of what we're doing. It's currently not enough. It's good. It's a start. But it's a start that should have probably happened 20 years, 30 years ago. Any other? I had a question here about problematic areas of live streaming for performances. The main one for me is human interaction, right? I would have loved to pour you all a beer. I would have loved to pour you all a beer to get this happy hour started, and then mentioned how much plastic potentially could be in this beverage. This one I don't know, right? They didn't give brands of beers, but it was saying on average most beers, like in average beers, are 4.05 particles of plastic a liter. So I found that really hard. And then I personally don't have a team, right? So I couldn't convert my camera to show you one thing and then another thing as easily as I would have if we were in person, because I would have just moved. But because I'm a one-man show, that was a bit difficult for me. I think we worked with it, right? But I feel it's a little bit less personal, right? I'm trying to read your guys' messages as you guys text, but as there's more viewers, it states than there are people messaging. So I feel like there's less of that one-on-one or group communication. And then tech issues for those who are not tech savvy, like myself. I feel like this has worked out really great actually, and I've really enjoyed this and been completely honored that Outside Chicago has invited me to this, and that Experimental Sound Studios is willing to do this. It's absolutely fantastic, and we can't ask for a better platform. And I'm excited for it, but it's definitely not my first thought when I think of my work, and what I do doesn't equate into visual or into tech virtual work. But I mean, this was fun. I greatly enjoyed this. And then yeah, there's a mask now in that cocktail, and I'm gonna let them crystallize over the next few months, and maybe post those later, but I really want to give a big thanks for those of you who are watching, and hopefully from all around the world. Thank you. Out of Sight is amazing. Experimental Sound Studios is amazing. Twitch, this is a new app for me, has been phenomenal. And then of course my cohort, the amazing artists that you'll be watching after I'm gone and that you watched prior to me appearing, have been phenomenal to work with, to chat with, to collaborate with. I can't ask for a better group of really smart and fantastic human beings. So I will say thank you and good night. Raise a cup of polyethylene to me later on. Please and thank you.